Hey everybody, it's Rajesh here.
And Tane here.
Welcome to our podcast, Baskets of Knowledge, Chats with a Difference. In our podcast, we invite guests from around the country and around the world to talk about how they got to where they're at the moment. It's about a journey, it's about an experience, it's about their life. Kia ora koutou, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Baskets of Knowledge. For our regular listeners, thank you so much for always jumping on. For our new listeners, thank you for coming on, and hopefully you'll be part of the ride as we go forward in the new year. As always, Tane, how's your week been? What's been happening? What have you learned in your Basket of Knowledge?
Yeah, it's been a slightly busier week, trying to keep busy, doing a few errands and stuff like that, and coaching's ramping up. We're heading away to tournament next week. But I guess my biggest learning is that sometimes, although you have your best intentions at heart, sometimes you don't necessarily know what is beneficial for the other person. We've been trying to support one of our girls who's been injured for quite a long period, and she's still not going to be back for probably another 4, 5, 6 months. We're not really sure at this stage, but I was still trying to get her to come along to trainings and be involved with the team and stuff like that. But then on, must have been Friday or Saturday, she talked about how she doesn't want to come away with tournament, and she just thinks that's the best approach for both her and the team. And I guess from a coaching point of view, that was quite hard to take in initially. You're trying to support your players, support your people, and really help them out. But I guess ultimately she knows what's best for her in this moment. She's had a lot of time to be going through recovery and stuff like that. So yeah, sometimes it was a good perspective for me to have and realize that it's not necessarily a bad point from us, as coaching and as management staff, but more so, yeah, just having that understanding that it is a two-way street, and eventually at the end of the day, it's their decision in terms of what they want to do. So a hard learning, and tough when you're passionate about these guys coming along and still being supported, and having these amazing experiences. But yeah, definitely a valuable learning nonetheless.
Yeah, and it's so true. We all want the best for whoever we work with or wherever whatever. In your case, it's coaching. And for our guest today, they will probably bring this up a bit later on about when you're in this particular role and you want the best, but sometimes you can empower somebody with so much stuff, but they've got to make that decision, that choice, and sometimes that decision and choice is totally different to what you'd like, and you're at that point you feel powerless because it's taken away from you. So it is a hard learning, and it's something that I think as humans we go through all the time. And but also sometimes the ownership comes back to the person as well. And they might turn back and go, actually, hey, Tane, you're actually right. I've had a bit of reflection, but we planted the seed. So that's profound. My learning this week is not profound at all. There's nothing that's going to blow your mind or take you away and go like, what the hell, this is amazing. Pretty simple. My learning this week is try to remember my passwords. Try to remember your passwords. I've got a new phone, and I'm trying to transfer my stuff from my old phone to my new phone, and I'm so worried with my passwords. I'm like, oh no, what if I've forgotten my passwords, and it's stopping me from doing it. I mean, I should just do it, but I'm so afraid of my password, which is so ridiculous. Yeah. So if anyone's out there that's got something that's helpful about remembering passwords, please tell me, because this is my learning. Remember my passwords. Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully next week when we have a chat, I'll have transferred over to my new phone. Fingers crossed. So yeah. So again, like I said, you're not a profound learning, just bloody passwords. Yeah, bloody passwords. 5,000 characters. So yeah. Yeah. And if anybody wants to listen to a funny password community clip, listen to Michael McIntyre. And Michael McIntyre passwords. It's probably the funniest password clip I've ever heard in my life. But anyway, we're not here to share password jokes. As always, for regular listeners, we scour the country and the world to find people that we think are amazing. And as we always say, we think everyone is amazing. We'd love to have loads and loads of people on our podcast, but we're still a free podcast. We make no money. So anyone out there that's got money to help us, we're never going to say no, but that's not going to stop us. And today, we are pretty honored, pretty privileged to have someone that I think is a fantastic and epic human on our podcast today, and I know that we're going to learn a lot from their story and their journey. Welcome to our podcast, Ghananta.
Thanks so much for having me. We've had so many cool chats, along the way, and it's cool to be
Yeah,
on your platform.
no, beautiful. And before we even get started, I know who you are, telling us who you are, but listeners have no idea who you are. Do you want to tell them a bit who you are at this point in your life, and then we'll get you how you got there.
Absolutely. Well, I would describe myself as a young adult on training wheels at the moment. I've just popped out of uni, finished up with that chapter of my life, and I'm finding myself in this whole adulting phase where I'm just finding my feet really with my career, with my work-life balance, with my social life. And I'm currently in sunny Nelson in my classroom where I have been teaching for the past week.
Oh, brilliant, crazy. So, career equals teaching at the moment. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And I say beautiful because Ghananta, I met you 5 years ago. I don't know how many years ago it was. And
Yeah.
if I said to you at that point in time you were going to be a teacher, what would you have said to me at that point in time?
Hell no, absolutely not.
Yeah,
I think I'm the fifth generation of teachers in my family. And so the idea of teaching was something I was so repelled by at that point. I was like, I'm not going to come back to school when I'm older just to teach. Um, and that's a big story there on how I discovered teaching to be such a passion of mine. And here I am in a
yeah.
classroom as we speak.
So it's so crazy, and I'd like to talk. I like to bring that up because a lot of us, when we are young, we try. So some people try to follow their parents' professions and their family profession, and a lot of people don't want to do that. And the same thing happened to me. My parents are both in the health sector, and I was like, I never want to work in the health sector, so I did a whole totally different degree in my first degree. And then my two next degrees ended up being in the health area, and I was like, how on earth did I end up getting here when I was so adamant this is what I didn't want to do? And
So crazy.
it's so crazy how sometimes it's just part of your genes essentially.
I
It just
know
happens.
what you're running away from is what ends up running back to you.
That's
It's
right,
quite
exactly. Yeah, crazy,
crazy.
crazy. Before we talk about how you got into teaching, I want to talk about something that happened to you just recently. You just went over to India. Let's talk about that. What is that experience like?
Oh, yes. So I was born in India, but I grew up mostly in New Zealand. So it's been close to a decade since I last went and visited India. So it was a really nice chance to pop over with my family and do a bit of sightseeing, visit family that I haven't met before or haven't seen in a while. Um, and so it worked out really well that we could all go explore India as a family, really. And it was just so beautiful. It's
Yeah,
so beautiful. We went during Christmas and New Year's. The first stop was Delhi, and then we visited Taj Mahal. We visited so many forts. Just India is such a rich place for history, and I was able to just feel more reconnected, I guess, once I went back. And besides all the sightseeing stuff, we visited lots of family, which was amazing because they obviously saw me when I was so much younger.
yes.
And to be able to see me as, this grown human being is probably very special to them as well. So really enjoyed India. Um, Another thing I went to India for was a little bit of a retreat. So Ayurveda is a type of ancient medicine practiced in India still till this date. And I dealt with a few health hiccups in the past. And so this was a great way to just look after my mind, my body, all aspects of my well-being, I guess. And it was just a very interesting experience.
Yeah, awesome. Do you want to talk about that now, or should we come back to that later on?
Oh, I'm easy. I'm easy.
Let's talk about it now. So, for our listeners out there, we had a chat before you disappeared, and you told me you're going to do this, and I said to you, well, I would love to know how you go with it, because it is a pretty profound experience trying to
Yeah.
do one of these programs. So what is it like, and how did you feel? Well, first of all, I guess tell us what the program was like, what it was all about, and how did you feel before and after that?
Absolutely. Okay, well, I'll start with a little bit of background for
Yes.
how I felt before. So since high school, I was diagnosed with something called ulcerative colitis, which is a type of IBD, autoimmune disease. So it's basically the formation of ulcers in your colon due to autoimmune reactions. And so that was pretty nasty, caused a bit of bleeding, and it was quite scary, actually. Um, but I was able to handle that with prescribed meds. All was under control. I actually kind of forgot about it for the next 4 years until last year. These meds stopped working. Nothing seemed to be working, and I was starting to feel a bit frustrated with the whole process of medicine and how I just felt like, I was popping these medications and nothing was happening. Why wasn't anything happening? And it actually got me to research into health a lot more and pay attention to health a lot more. And while this was a pretty nasty disease, I think it was a blessing in disguise because it just got me to delve deep into health as a whole, as something that's holistic and not just medicinal in terms of prescribed medication or treatments. And so I found out there's such a big link between your mind and your gut and your state of mind and how that affects the rest of your body, really. And so that still quite wasn't enough at that point of time to resolve my symptoms. And so I thought, you know what, I'll take the next step in treatment. So I got put on some immunosuppressants, and rarely this causes some side effects, which include stopping your bone marrow from producing red blood cells. And I happen to be a rare case where that happened. And unfortunately, during my placement time, I was sent to hospital because my body basically had no immune system because of these medications. Um, and I went through the process of losing all my hair, and the symptoms were gone, but my immune system was way down. And so I'm a believer, big person of faith, and so I do believe that faith, family, and my friends really helped me get through this tough period. And lo and behold, my bone marrow results went back to normal, and if not even more than the threshold. And I was slowly able to get back to my normal routines in life. So fast tracking from there, I guess I just wanted to take part in this Ayurvedic retreat to stabilize my body and just strengthen me a little bit more. And so, yeah, I was feeling pretty excited before this treatment to see what this had in store, because why not?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah. Before we go on, I just want to touch on that there because we live in a world where people like to take pills to get better, just to fast track everything, and it's quite frustrating. And I read a quote somewhere, I can't remember where it was, but I think it's in Chinese wisdom, and it says, in the Western world, in the Western medication, the doctor's job is to cure you. In Eastern medication, the doctor's job is to make sure you don't get sick. When I heard that, I was just so blown away because when I think about my Indian culture and I think about a lot of indigenous cultures, the doctor, when they start getting into your life pretty early on in your life, and it's about eating different kinds of foods, different kinds of spices, different kinds of things, and they're all about the prevention as opposed to the cure. And as when you shared your story with me, I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about how now that we have incorporated so much of the Western world, and that we just don't look after ourselves until things go bad, and then we go, oh, the pill is going to make me better, and when it doesn't, we get so frustrated because it's not the pill's job to make us better, but this is the mindset we've been fed or we live in, So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So
no,
it's really beautiful.
I do respect medicine, and yeah, it might be something that we use as a crutch today, but
Yes,
honestly, I've come to realize that your lifestyle is your medicine, really, and
yes.
you can definitely take preventative measures to support yourself.
Totally,
Sure.
and there's so much you can do before, but then at some point, definitely, I mean, like you
Yeah.
said, medication is part of our lives, but it's our mindset around the medication and how we use it as a crutch, as opposed to, okay, cool, let me try not. If I can avoid taking medication, this is amazing, which means life is all cool. But at some point, you have, the human body is a crazy thing and it can do its own thing. So, you're excited, you're in India, everything's all, vibrant and colorful and crazy, and then you go into this retreat. What is that like as you went into this retreat?
Well, this retreat, I honestly didn't know what I was getting into. All I knew that this was a great treatment or practice for the gut, and the way they approached this treatment was to look at it very holistically. So they were going to involve me in things which were good for my mind, good for my body, and it involved a lot of massage therapy, which was great. And so that went on for about 3 weeks.
Oh,
3 weeks of massage, and we have this. I walked into this. It was this dim littered room, and there was a wooden table, and I was expected to lie there, and they were just going to massage me for the whole session. And I
Oh,
can't
wow.
complain about that, can I?
Yeah, totally. No,
Um,
exactly. Yeah, like bring it
yeah,
on.
so they start with like a good old scalp massage because there are a lot of nerve endings based around your scalp, a lot of pressure points, which have great benefits for everything else in the body. And so they would target that first, followed by a full body massage with herbal oils, which were great for your skin and just great for the massage experience as well, I guess. And then in the end, they would pour buttermilk, which is a solution made of water, yogurt, and they just drip that on my forehead while I just closed my eyes and relaxed. So I guess that's how they targeted the mind aspect and just feeling relaxed and calm, because what you target in your mind really affects your gut. And that's all to do with the gut brain connection through the vagus nerve, which is pretty fascinating when you look into it. And then the next part of the treatment was a bit iffy. I didn't know how I felt about this. And it might be a bit TMI for some of our listeners here, but the next part of this treatment involved an enema. And so that's basically pushing up a solution of herbs up the back passage, which is a bit nasty, but it has some great benefits. And the Ayurvedic Journal of Medicine also showed some great results with this treatment in terms of just protecting the layer in your colon and feeding it nutrients that it needs to remain strong.
Yeah.
And so that was done for the end of the treatment, and altogether I walked out of this treatment just feeling more rejuvenated, more strong, and a lot more balanced. I felt like I was given the tools to maintain the good health that I was in. And I will add that before this treatment, I was symptom free. I was told by my doctors to be on lifelong medications, but I made the decision to actually stop all medications, and that was like a step of faith for me. I was like, I don't want to put any medications in my body anymore. And the doctor said, okay, but you run the risk of getting your symptoms back. And so that was a moment of faith, and I was like, I believe that I won't. I pray and believe that I really won't get my symptoms back, and I stopped my medication until this day. I have no symptoms. And I'm so
Wow.
happy to say that I'm not on meds anymore, which is amazing.
That
Yeah.
is pretty epic. That's so beautiful. I like how you said it was iffy because again, it's iffy because in our world, an enema is like, oh man, why would you do an enema? But in indigenous cultures, again, this is normal. This is normalized. This is something that
Yeah.
people do, or people used to do in the past, and and now it's a bit different. But hey, there's no right or wrong. It's just a different
Yeah,
perspective on the way we approach things.
exactly.
But now that you've come back home, it's I always talk about this with people I work with and clients I work with. Like, it's awesome you've gone to a coaching seminar and you've gone to a personal development thing, and that's all cool and you're energetic. But the hard work comes when you out of the environment. So how has it been for you when you've come back to New Zealand and you're not in a dim lit room? There's no wooden table for you to lie down. How has it been for you?
Yeah, so as I said before, I'm not going to be in this treatment or sort of therapy for the rest of my life, right? This
Yep.
is just a moment in time, but continuing the goodness of it into my life will involve just being conscious and mindful of stresses in life, because stress is such a big factor of what I was going through. Stress, whether I could feel it or not, really affected my mind and hence my gut health.
Yep.
And so just being equipped with things that will help me eliminate stress or deal with it better is something that I'm putting into practice even more than I did before. And so, yeah, adulting, getting used to my new career, dealing with 30 kids all throughout the day, and all these little aspects.
No stress, no stress, right? Zero stress there.
Yeah,
Zero.
not at all the planning that's going on right now.
Yeah.
I've actually just learnt to enjoy the process rather than see it as something that's stressful. So it took a bit of perspective changing, and when you change your perspective on what you perceive as stress, I really think it helps.
Yeah, totally. And I
Yeah.
love that. The way I love that is because, and I love that particular point is because we all get stressed. Stress is part of life. It is part of life. You know, it is. You can't. Nobody can say they don't get stressed because that's a lie. Everybody gets stressed, whether it's a positive stress or a negative stress, positive, negative. You know, when you go to the gym or you run, you're stressing out your body. There's stress all the time. It's just how you deal with it and how you cope with it. And like you said before, it's that mindset shift of being aware that this is happening. And okay, how do I stop and pause and at that point in time just refocus, re-energize, or just do nothing, you know? And
Exactly.
but it's
And
hard.
stress can be a good thing. It's just
Yeah,
how you channel it, you know? And
totally,
so
totally.
that's what we're figuring out right now.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's a journey that everyone goes through. You know, it's a, and you know, for different people, some people get it when they're younger, some people get it when they're a bit older, but it's just part of. Some will never get it, and that's fine. You know, it's just the journey that we have in life. Talking about the journey that we have in life, we're gonna go full circle. We're gonna talk about you go to university, you don't want to be a teacher. This is not what you want to do. Where at this point, where does this whole teaching thing come into your horizon again as you are doing your degree?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I entered uni pretty close-minded, really. I always knew that I was pretty interested in sciences, and I thought, you know, the gold standard for science would be being a doctor, getting into medicine, and using science in my life in that sense. And so first year of health sci was what I did during my first year. And that was the biggest eye opener for me as someone who did enter into university thinking, yep, this is me right now. This is going to be me at point B. And the reason why it was really eye opening, I guess, was because I saw the range and the different avenues through health sciences, and the different possibilities besides just, you know, getting into medicine and becoming a doctor, which is great in its own. But I just realized that I wanted something different from life. And you know, when one door seems to be closed, heaps open up. And sometimes, you know, those wrong paths do lead to the right one. And I guess teaching was what I found in my hopes to become a doctor. But I guess the point where I was like, oh man, I'm going to be a teacher, was when I was tutoring one of my friends. We were prepping for a physics lesson, a physics test actually, and yeah, we were just helping each other out, and I just found myself that I was, you know, teaching some of the topic to her and helping her out quite a bit. And it comes to the test, she gets way better results than me. I was like, what happened there? What happened there? And so I think that's when I realized that, damn, you know, I think my skills really do lie in teaching, and they surpass the skills of being able to sit in tests and um, project my knowledge in that way. So in that moment, I was like, damn, maybe I am meant to be a teacher. These are my strengths. And so from then, I decided that, yes, I'll finish a degree. So I did biomedicine, and I loved all the learning that I did there. And from there, I decided to do my first year of Masters in Teaching at Otago. And here I am now.
Crazy. What a crazy. You know, it's so funny in life. People talk about those moments. We all have moments in our lives where you just have no idea where it comes from, and then you go, actually, this is my thing. You know, this is my whatever that thing is. You know, and again, sometimes, but I think the universe always. Okay, this is me. Sounds a bit crazy, but I think the universe is always sending us messages about what our thing is, but we just have to be aware to pick it up. And you know, sometimes. And as Tanya and myself have spoken to before, so we're so busy doing things that we don't pick those up, and we just keep on going. What's going on here? And then in those moments of clarity, you go, wait a minute, wait a minute. Let me just stop and pause for a second. And I guess Tanya, I'm going to bring you in here because you know as we've spoken before, if we had spoken to you when you were coming to university and said, "Hey, Tane, and when you finish your degree, you'll be so involved in coaching," you would have been like, "What the hell are you talking about? This is not what I was thinking about." But again, it's you found your thing.
Yeah, totally. I think, yeah, I knew sport and exercise was going to be quite broad, but again, I didn't think that I would be as passionate as I am about it. But I guess it kind of makes sense now that if I think about it deeply, I always had a passion for sciences and sport particularly. And then from a personal aspect, I've always been involved with helping young people. And, so it's kind of those two worlds have collided. And yeah, I think there's just so much in that space that you can do as well. Like it's not, teaching the sport and going to tournaments and stuff like that. That's and the reality is actually quite a small chunk of what coaching means to me. And I'm still, trying to figure out what it looks like to me, how involved I tend to be. And I think that's hard when you're so passionate about wanting to see these young people achieve what they can achieve. But again, it's probably similar to teaching where it's, you find your moments, you learn what works, what doesn't work, and it's going to be a cool journey to be on. Yeah, I don't really know where it's going, but I think that's also a fun aspect to have, that it can. I'm happy with where I am now, and I'll continue to take up opportunities that come, but I'm not putting pressure on. I need to be, at this point by this time, otherwise it's not successful because I'm happy, I'm enjoying it, and I think that's the most valuable thing for me.
Beautiful. I think that there's a connection here between the two of you. And I guess I'm not going to talk myself here. The two of you have mentioned that the growth of young people is and the growth and the learning and just developing yourselves and young people. And you, for our listeners out there, there's also another connection. The two of you work together as sub wardens at one of the colleges here at the University of Otago. What is it like for you? Ghananta, we'll start with you because we know Tane's story many times. How did that, here you were, you're teaching your friend physics, and then you get this role where you now have between 100 and 180 or 190 students, where you are looking after in inverted commas, but also you've become a role model in so many different ways. What is that like for you as you transition that space there?
Yeah. So I picked this role up when I was in third year, and I had a great relationship with my who became my colleagues later, Rachel and Johnny at Studham. And they were truly supportive, and I think it was them sort of believing that I'd be a good person for this role that really got me thinking that, yep, I'm going to give this a shot. And so them believing in me and giving me that opportunity was, I guess, a first step. And once I did get into the swing of things with the role of being a sub warden, I just fell in love with it. And I think that was the second thing which confirmed that, yeah, I'm going to love teaching because I love working with young people. And these guys are coming in from all these different high schools, navigating life, first year, going on huge rages and working that balance between study and play. And it's just been such a rewarding thing to be a part of as someone who can mentor these people, guide them, and just be good mates with them at the end of it all.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's such a, I think all three of us have had this role, and I think it's such a crazy privilege. It's such a crazy privilege to be, first of all, for the people that have decided to put faith in you to say,
Yeah.
hey,
You just see so much growth in them, and then
yeah,
it makes you reflect on your own life and
yeah,
see that you've grown as well in that same way at that point of time, and it's just
yeah,
beautiful. It's so fun, so
yeah,
fun.
but also just saying it's not smooth sailing. And there's times you're like, why am I doing this here? And there's times when you're like, this is amazing, But that's everything in life, right? We always question things when things are challenging, and you know, um, yeah, it's a privilege, and it's pretty cool that the two of you got to experience that, because I don't think there's any other job in the world where that happens, where you are living in close quarters for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for almost 36 weeks in a year. It's a pretty unique
Yeah.
position to be.
Meet some really cool characters for sure. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. But the
It's all
keyword is
part of that.
character, right?
Sorry?
The keyword is characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, the keyword is
Yeah,
character.
that's very true.
That's such a crazy thing. And but also if you talk about yourself and your family, I met you when you were in Blenheim,
Mm.
but your family has obviously changed and moved places. What is it like for because as you you're born in India, you come to New Zealand, your family's in the whole teaching profession, and there's lots of movement happening for you. What is that like for you as a young person? Well, I guess you were in one place, but now they've moved around. How does that
Yeah.
affect, how does that work with your identity?
Yeah, well, I guess after first year when my parents did move away from Blenheim to Hamilton, I was like, oh, what do I call my home ground now? Like, it's not Blenheim anymore. Dunedin is my student city, and Hamilton I've got nothing to do with. Like, where do I fit in?
Yeah,
And so I think from then I just really detached myself from a home ground as being part of my identity, and it was more about who I was with. And so wherever my family is, I think that's a part of my identity rather than a home ground.
yeah,
Um, as of now, I'm in good old Nelson, beautiful and sunny. So I guess this for now is my home ground, but what's to say that I'll move in another 2 years? We just never know. And so rather than attaching myself to a place, I tend to just focus on, I guess, the experience of that place or the people of that place. And I think that becomes my identity or a part of my
yes,
identity rather than the place, the physical place itself.
yeah.
So yeah, that's how I see it.
And I agree with you because I like you, I travel so much. I've been to so
Mm,
many different places that when someone says where's home for you, I just go, there's no such thing as home. It's just it's where the
yeah,
people that I care about, what the people that resonate with me are. And that could be at different stages in your life. It's not the physical. It's not like, oh, I like Dunedin because of the hills. Okay, whatever, the hills anyway. It's beautiful, but
yeah,
that doesn't mean it's home for me. So it's a great question. I like to ask this question for people that move a lot because it's so challenging. Whereas some people have never moved in their lives, and
mm,
where their generational family has been, it's been the same place, and this is home. It's
yeah,
locked in, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It is what it is, which is
yeah.
pretty
And it,
crazy.
it is a little bit more trickier, especially if you're born in a different country, I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
Which identity do I have? Like,
yeah,
do I feel Indian? Do I feel New Zealander? And so I
yeah.
guess at the end of the day, it's just nothing to do with your ethnicity or nationality. It's just who you are,
Yeah,
basically.
I always find the ethnicity question really, really hard question to answer. I really struggle to answer the question. Ethnically, physically, I am
Yeah,
Indian physically,
yeah,
but I have nothing linking me to India, like nothing apart from my mom who's from India, but I was
yeah,
born and raised in Africa. So I'm like, I'm actually way more African than I am Indian. But now I've
yeah.
been living in New Zealand for so long, so I'm like, what the hell? What am I?
I
It's
know.
it's so crazy,
Crazy,
right?
isn't it? And a
Yeah,
lot of people have brought up my accent, because when I'm on the phone to my parents,
yep,
switches to an Indian accent, just like
yep,
that. And whoever's
yep.
listening is like, whoa, what's going on? Like, you've got two accents, what's happening? And in my head, I'm like, whoa, I didn't even realize that happened. And so
Switches, yeah,
even in me, it's just like I'm a bit of a blend, a bit of a
yeah.
hybrid, but yeah, it's funny things.
I'll tell you what a funny story. One day I was talking to somebody and they were like, "Oh, your Indian accent is so amazing." I was like, what?" It's like, "Yeah, your Indian accent." I was like, "How do I have an Indian accent? I've never lived in India. I
uh,
don't speak to my parents who have Indian accents." I was like,
they're just
"What are you
seeing the face
talking about?"
value, eh?
I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
"Wow." They're like, yeah. I was like, "What are you talking about?" It was so
yeah.
it blew my mind. I was like, "Wow, it's just a physical appearance, just affects the
I
way you."
know, I
So
know.
crazy, so crazy, but it's pretty funny. Um, Talking about something else that's really important to you, you mentioned this before, faith is important to you. Do you want to let's explore that pathway there? Has that been something that has always been part of your family and you, or is it something that you've picked up as as we get older, start making your own judgment calls? Yeah, let's explore that there.
Yeah, sure. So I grew up in a Christian household. Um, my dad's side of the family, uh, they associate with Christianity, and my mum's side of the family actually associate with something called Jainism, and that's a branch of Buddhism. And so the blend of the two worlds, it was a bit iffy because obviously religion in a marriage, it's a bit iffy when they're both different. And so mum and dad's marriage was actually a bit unique, and a bit taboo actually. And so um, mum was like, you know what, we'll raise the kids as within a Christian household. We'll all
Yeah,
go to church, and so because of that, I think I naturally just fell into that faith. And so it's always been a part of my life. But I guess, you kind of have to choose for yourself how you resonate with it, how much you want to interact with it. And I guess at different points of my life, I've just always respected it, and felt connected, but I've just grown deeper and deeper throughout different phases and stages of my life. And just in terms of actively choosing to be within this faith and believe in prayer and God, it's always been a part of me, but I've just navigated it in different phases of life accordingly. Yeah.
Yeah, I really find it fascinating. I think faith is whatever faith is, this whatever we label the faith is. I think faith has always been part of humanity, but it seems to be now the world is going towards, hey, if you believe in X, Y, Z, then you're labeled as, not a free thinker or whatever, and it's pretty crazy seeing that, a lot of people in the world are moving away from faith for whatever reason. And I was listening to something the other day, and they were just saying, I mean, this is obviously hypothesis, it's not true fact. And listening to me, this is not facts, it's just hypotheses. And they were talking about, the increase in mental health type things and the social disconnection. With faith, whatever faith you believe in, there's always a connection. Whether you choose to, you don't. Whether you go to a church, a mosque, a synagogue, a temple, the connection, the social connection is so great. It's so crazy, and we undermine the power of that there. It's not about believing in whatever the belief is. It's about the social connection. You'll come together, every whatever it is. And when you take that away, where do you go for social connection?
Absolutely.
It's really quite crazy. I've read a book which I think everyone should read. It's called Lost Connections, and it's such a powerfully awesome book where they speak about this and they go, hey, throughout human culture, social connection is what binds us. But every one of us, whether you are an introvert, an extrovert, social connection is important. And the power of faith is just more than the power of your faith in whatever you believe in.
Absolutely.
But it's the internal faith as well that you get, which is quite
and I think
interesting.
people get really caught up in just seeing it something that's so complex, but you know what, in my heart anyway, it all just comes down to one thing, and that's just love. And where there's love, like, that's the biggest thing, and I guess that's the crux of the faith, for me anyway. And so
totally. And Tina, what are your thoughts? I mean, we've never ever explored this topic.
Yeah, I think for me, like, I definitely think there's something out there, but I don't choose to follow it wholeheartedly. Like, I believe in my values and my I haven't really explored it. So I explored Christianity for a bit, and I definitely think there was value in having a faith and having something to help guide you through your life. But I think, particularly because I probably saw it more from a youth group lens, I've seen certain issues around it, particularly in giving yourself to an entity, a god or whatever it might be, and hoping that the god would do everything for you. Because in my opinion, I think it has to be a two-way street, right? It's kind of like you have to help yourself, and there'll be something that will help you, guide you in the things that are tough. And so that's where I guess, struggled with faith in itself. But that's not to say that I discredit it or disvalue it. I just think that there's something out there, and I do think it is powerful. I think it's, for me, it's how you use it and how you choose to, follow it as you go through your life.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I see where you're coming from, Tana, and honestly, I've been through that same thought process as well, and I definitely think it's a very personal thing, and it's not something that's very general, like if one person says this, that's not necessarily what it might mean to you. And so I think it's important to see it as something that's a very relationship and personal thing. Hi. No, that's all right.
Everyone's come to work on a Saturday. Crazy, yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
People are in the house.
Yeah, everyone's in the house. Yeah, in the house. It's just like like those, and I think I agree with you both. That the world around faith is a personal journey, and too often we get caught up with other people think about, your own journey, and then you get caught up with that as opposed to just focusing on, as you said, it's just about love. Love transcends everything. And, where you find love, you find faith, whatever that faith is, which is pretty beautiful in so many ways.
Yeah.
In so many ways. Let's talk about the classroom. So now you are just before we started the podcast, we spoke about the big transition from being as in your practicums versus reality. What is that like being for you? So I guess we had the chat, but I guess have no idea what we said.
Yeah. So I guess my Masters of Teaching year was, I guess, like a trial run to see what it would be like for the real deal, which is this year and the years to come. And so actually putting into practice what I have learnt in Masters and my placements is really crazy. It's a big shift because now it's just the full part of my life, where it was just a part of my education in the previous year. And so navigating this is crazy. And I think you just pick up so many more skills that you didn't learn in the classroom. And so I think that's just reminded me that, you learn things in the classroom, but the true learning happens when you're doing it, when you're thrown the deep end and just being challenged. And so that's me at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's really exciting, right? It's an exciting phase. Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah, it's a bit like something I do lots of reading and lots of listening. And someone said, you can read all the books, you can watch all the videos, you can go to all the talks in the whole wide world, and that's awesome. But until you actually do it, it's not real until you actually do it. So
and even within my lessons, like I'll be writing up notes or sharing the content, but they're not actually going to be able to do anything with it unless they apply it to a certain context, and so
that's right.
That's when the challenge happens. That's when the challenge crops up, when you actually have to apply it. So
yeah, which
absolutely.
is crazy. And I'm going to come back now to what is it like for you as you're a strong young person. The world is you're doing what you want in the world, and then you get sick. What is that like for you at that point in time? We spoke about the medication and stuff, but what is it like for you as a young person where the sickness comes again? And as you were studying, how did you navigate that in your mind as well? Because the body's doing what the body's doing, but as we've spoken right before, is the mind is such a crazy place.
Yeah, it really is. And I can't help but tie back to my faith. I mean, during such a tough time when I'm helpless, when I can't do anything, when modern medicine can't do anything, I just pray. And whether that's something that, other people resonate with or not, I definitely did believe that, it was good for my state of mind. And through the prayer, I guess it just really brought a lot of peace in such a big moment of chaos and confusion and frustration. And so through that, I was able to just calm my mind down and just trust that, it will all work out in the end. And it really did. And so it was just the mindset that prayer brought that really helped me out during that time. And because I went through something that tough, I guess, I think it's really transferable to anything else that might come up later in life. Like, I know what my mindset should be like. I know what my heart should be like. And I think I'm just ready for a challenge that comes my way after that, So it's definitely built me up, that moment of weakness, which is quite ironic. But here we are.
It's crazy. Sometimes the best thing to happen to you is the worst thing to happen to you.
Yeah, so true. So true.
Yeah, which is so crazy, right? We spend our whole lives trying to do all the best things, and sometimes it's the worst thing that actually you find the best thing, which is
absolutely. No, definitely good things crop out of it for sure during such moments.
Very powerful there. But I'm also going to ask you, at that moment when you had to lose all your hair, what is that like for you? Because that we're all humans, we attach ourselves to different parts of the human body, and when you had to lose your hair, what is that like for you as a person?
Absolutely. Yeah, so we brought up the topic of identity, I guess, before.
Yes.
And I really was attached to my long hair. It was long and curly and just a part of my identity. It was just what made me iconic to me, I guess. And so I had a really interesting relationship with hair because as a younger person, I really hated curly hair on me. I was just like, oh, I'm not happy with this and that, and I just wished I had straighter hair. And then I think towards the middle of uni, I just grew to love it. I grew to embrace it, and I had a really good relationship with my hair. I knew how to take care of it. And then it was all gone. So I was like, what? So losing it was a really tough time for me. And I know that some people are out there just like, you know what, it's just hair, and they could easily detach themselves. But that wasn't me. That really wasn't me. And so that was a big learning curve because it really forced me. It forced me to detach myself from things that are temporary, you know? Everything in life is temporary, and hair is one of them. And I grew to understand that through that moment. And at the moment, as of now, I guess I'm just enjoying every stage of it as it grows back, and just appreciating it as it comes. And it's coming back strong, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So I think I just was able to depend on a part of my identity which was much deeper than my physical attributes. And so that's another area, I guess, which made me stronger in who I am.
But you had to go through the actual reality, right? You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't an overnight. Okay, cool. Don't worry. This is it.
I know.
It affected you, right? And I
Yeah,
think
honestly,
that's real.
and with my long hair, I always thought I was someone who, you know, really didn't care for appearances.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I lost my hair where I was like, oh man, I really did just value my hair a lot and my appearance a lot.
Yeah.
And so it just opened my eyes a little bit to
Yeah.
see, yep, I need to depend on a different part of my identity and respect.
And it's crazy because we're all human, right? And you know,
Yeah.
until things get taken away, we don't realize that actually this is a big part of our lives.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then or a part of our lives, or another big part, but a part
I
of our
know.
lives. And then we
Yeah.
have which is so. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's really,
That's
I think
absolutely fine. And
it
like
just
to
makes
any listeners out there, I think it's just, you know, so important um to just embrace who you are and see the confidence in yourself, and um just really be attached to things which are much deeper than what you see, I guess. And it's all about how you carry yourself. How you carry
totally.
yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally. And sometimes it's easy for some people, and for a lot of people it's hard. You know, it's a journey. You know,
it really is.
for those listening to this podcast, it doesn't mean that you could wake up tomorrow and go, cool, I'm going to go search something deeper and I've got it straight away. It doesn't happen like that. I mean, maybe one in a million, but you know, I don't know. I mean, that goes back to a book that I think everyone should read. Is this one here? For those that are listening, it's called Autobiography of a Yogi. It is one of the most profound books I've read in a very long time, and I keep going back to it because it talks about this journey that we all go through, and you know, it doesn't happen overnight. There's nothing that happens
Yeah,
overnight, and
absolutely.
it's a I mean, it doesn't matter what faith you believe in or whatever. It's such a great book.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
You
think
can
book
you can
review.
pick out
Everybody's
gold nuggets from anywhere really. And
that's right,
while
exactly.
you're
Yeah,
checking out book recommendations, I
go on.
really loved reading Green Light by Matthew McConaughey. It's
Yeah,
his auto
well,
biography, I guess. And
yeah,
it's such a beautiful book. And Green Lights is just like a metaphor for all the moments in life which push you and propel you forward. And the red lights are just green lights in disguise because yes, they feel red in the moment, but they turn green because you learn from them, and you get stronger from those red lights, and it pushes you to the green zone. So
yeah.
really good book.
It's a
I
fan.
recommend.
I think it's a fantastic book as well. I think it's a great book. So yeah, two
Yeah.
good books there. Tanya, any books that you want us to for our listeners and ourselves to while we're on book reviews?
I wish. I'm still trying to get back in the swing of things with reading, but once I get a few books under my belt, I'll keep it in mind.
Don't worry, we'll come back to you for your extensive book review there. Yeah, this is great. This is great. No, it's beautiful. I mean, it is like you said before. You know, you can take away whatever you want from anything and that you read or you watch. So yeah, beautiful. Tanya, any questions from you? Or any comments or any thoughts?
No, I don't think I have any questions for Ghananta. I know Ghananta quite well, so I don't have anything. Yeah, I guess I know
Yeah,
about the guests. I don't know, but yeah. Anyway,
yeah, yeah. Well, I can ask you both this question. As you were working together, what are the strength that you saw from in the other person that you go, oh, this is really cool. I know this is a really on the spot question, but
It's okay.
it's sometimes, when we don't realize our strengths until someone else says, hey, wait a minute, I saw this in you. Yeah, what would you say? Who wants to go first can go first.
I could kick us off.
Go on.
Well, I give Tanya to think. Um, well, I obviously knew Tanya in first year
Yeah.
as a first year resident, and then we sort of met one another again through the sub warden role. And I guess throughout the year, sorry, there's a fly buzzing around. It's really annoying me.
Wants your
Anyways,
attention. Yeah.
I learned that Tanya is someone who's so resilient. Um, and he's just someone who gives 110% to everything, whether it's organizing something that's pastoral or activities for the residents. Like he was the one that was always there, 100% commitment, always showed up and was just such a proactive member of the team. And I think the residents really knew that as well. Like he was just always there and organizing things and just going out of his way. He didn't see it as just a job, but he really took it as something that was a part of him to be there for young people. And so I really admired how you just gave 110% of yourself. Like you're crazy for doing everything that you do. I just remember you just being everywhere all at once, and I was like, what is this man doing? He needs to slow down. But no, it was amazing to see how you just didn't complain, got on with everything that you did, and yeah, I find that very admirable about you, Tane.
thank you. Yeah, so saying like I've known Ghananta for a while, and I think probably the biggest thing I took from Ghananta was she always enjoyed the moment. I think that was something that was really powerful for me. Like she was always calm and that you felt comfortable when you're around her and when we were organizing things. You always knew that there was a sense of comfortability, but again, enjoying the moment. I think that was something that I never really had much fondness for. As Ghananta says, I was always go, 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 which is great, but you almost forget to enjoy the moment, enjoy the impact you're having, enjoy the conversations you're having. And, I was, as she says, I was always around, but, if I had just gone through the year doing all these things and not actually enjoying the conversation I was having with the resident or with the team, or, if I didn't, yeah, if I didn't appreciate the time sitting there and being present, I don't think I would have such a gleaming, year from it and experience from it. And I think that's something I really learnt from Ghanantha. And yeah, it was really cool to get to know her a bit more too. Because I think in first year, as we say, we were both in Studham, but because we were doing very different things and had different friend groups and stuff like that, we only knew each other mutually. But to really get to know her in our subordinate year was quite cool to, see the type of person that she is.
Oh,
Beautiful.
thanks, Tane. And I will
The-
take a moment to say that Prajesh, like I think I could speak for the both of us here that you're someone that we admire, like
yeah.
met you in high school and then met you on Hands-On Otago, and you were just the guy who solved everyone's problems, I guess, when they came to you. But I think you saw potential in so many people, and I definitely felt that from you. And so it's so amazing to see everything that you're doing currently, just inspired by you, man.
That's very, very, very kind. I didn't expect that to
Yeah.
happen, but that's very kind of you. Yeah, I think it goes back to something that all of us have, and that when you're a teacher, when you're a coach, when you're in my role, it's all about the potential. We go right back to the start of this whole conversation. It's about that potential that we see in the person that comes in front of us. You wouldn't be a teacher, you wouldn't be a coach, and I wouldn't be doing what I do if I believed that everyone's life was just set the way it was. And when you push someone or you believe in someone, and I remember this, someone said to me a long time ago, you just need one person to believe in you, and your life will change. And this is an ethos that I have had for a very long time, that you just need someone to believe in. And it might not be you, but you will be able to connect that person to somebody that will believe in them, which is really beautiful. So And there was a reason why I asked this question. I asked this question because, too often we live our lives just doing our thing, and we wait for a performance appraisal. We wait for those defined moments for someone to say that, hey, you're an awesome human being. But actually, at sometimes just stop and just go, hey, tell me what's good, what's bad about me. And when you have those authentic conversations, it also shows you, it allows you to stop and go, hey, all those problems I'm thinking about for what they can stop for a second. And actually, I'm doing some good things. I'm doing things that are pretty awesome. So that was the trick in that question. But it's also a challenge to our listeners out there to do that as well, to speak to someone that that is close to you, not your parents, because your parents will always say good things about you. Speak to someone that, hopefully, speak to a friend that can say it, or a colleague, and go, hey, what you've worked with for so long, or you've done this with me. What do you see are my strengths? And also sometimes to ask you, hey, what are my weaknesses? But to detach from the personal and just go, hey, this is a learning moment for me. So yeah, that's my challenge out there to everybody.
Yeah. I feel like on the flip side as well, like we go through the whole day and we think some great things about people, but we never put it out there to them.
Yes.
And so I think that's another challenge as someone on the flip side, I guess, if you think something good about someone or
just tell
notice something, just say it. Just say it. Make their day.
Yeah, just tell them. And that's so true, because I do that often. Like, it's so awkward. Like, if I see someone who's got an amazing pair of shoes or whatever, I'll be like, hey, those are pretty cool shoes. And they're like, what the hell are you talking about? It's so weird. They're like, what are you doing talking to me?
Yeah.
But it's because it's like you said, people don't just say nice things with no agenda, nothing. But
so
people are quick to say mean things. Mean things are so quick to say, but people saying a nice thing to a random stranger is so, or even to a friend or colleague, is so awesome. So that's very powerful there. Yeah, so very, very beautiful. Talking about powerful things, we've been chatting now for almost an hour. Our time just flies, and we can keep talking. But our final question, and we can talk more as well, but a question that we like to ask our guests is, our podcast is called The Baskets of Knowledge. In every episode, we invite our guests to share a piece of knowledge to share into our basket. So both myself at Patane and for our listeners. You've shared so much knowledge today, but is there any one or two pieces of knowledge you'd like to go ahead? This is pretty awesome to put into a basket.
Let me have a think. I would say surround yourself with good people who can fill up your basket. There's this analogy where it says, don't surround yourself with walnut trees, but find your marigolds. And if we're looking at the science behind it, walnut trees aren't the best for the growth of plants around them, and marigolds really support the growth of the plants around them. They're very nourishing. And so find your marigolds, the people who fuel you, the people who can add value to your life, and really fill up your basket of knowledge with the good things that they bring. And it links to another saying, which is all about the fact that, you become like the people you hang out with the most. And so I think just surround yourself with good people and be that good person yourself. I think that's very valuable to me, and that's something I hold on to.
I love that. Walk away from walnuts and find your marigolds, which is really, really beautiful in
find
so
your
many
marigolds,
ways.
people.
Yeah, find your marigolds, which is so beautiful. Awesome, beautiful. Anything else you'd like to share before we start wrapping up?
Oh, well, I think we've covered a lot of the topics, haven't we?
Yeah, we've gone through a whole range. We just, we could keep talking for a long time. But I think,
I guess something that I could bring up is the fact that, yes, we've got like our professional lives and careers, and as important as it is to feed into those things, I think it's so important to balance it up with the things that fuel us outside of work and outside of our profession. And so I know, what are those things for you guys?
Yeah, Tanya, you go first, Tanya.
Yeah, I think for me, like a big thing for me is exercise. I think if I'm not exercising, I know pretty quickly that it's, that something's wrong. I think also talking to probably mum in particular, but family more generally. Family is a big part of my life. So again, I know that if I haven't called mum within a week or so, that, like sometimes it can just be me being busy, but usually it means that there's something that's not quite sitting right, and I don't really want to have that conversation with her. But she's a good support for me. She'll know when to tell me to not worry about it and tell me when it actually is something serious. But yeah, so I think the two big ones for me is exercise and family, but also probably, yeah, just trying to find more balance. And I guess something that I'm learning this year is to just enjoy the downtime. You know, I've been quite busy this last 4 years, and I think although I'm not working much, it's enough to keep me busy, but also knowing that, you know, like the other day I just went for a walk, and I, you know, I didn't really have a path in mind. I just went for a walk and came back, or reading, or, you know, not having so much pressure on, I'm going to do this for half an hour or an hour, and then I'm going to go do that. I'm going to, you know, like yeah, it's nice to be able to just, yeah, go through day in and day out and just enjoy that day and not worry so much about everything else that's happening. So those are probably my biggest ones that I've taken away. Yeah.
Nice.
I love that. I love that, Tana, because so often we do stuff. We go for a walk for a reason, but actually just going for a walk just for the sake of going for a walk is cool. It's cool, and exercise is obviously pretty big, which is cool. Yeah, what a great question. And it's really hard. This is a really hard question for me to answer. Well, it's easy, but it's hard. It's my I live in a world where my role is I have my job, which is what I do, but then a lot of the conversations that I have, like with you or with Tane, they're not my job. But people say, "Oh, you only talk to them because they're students." But no, I talk to them because every conversation I have with somebody is me getting to know that person, and I learn so much from people, and it really fills me up. And I notice this when I'm on the road and I'm traveling quite a bit, or when I haven't connected with people. People fill me up. People give me energy. People give me a compass as to what's happening. So
He's an extrovert.
it's an extrovert, or just or the people that I get to connect with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it does for me. But also, on the converse as well. Things like you spoke about at the start, the very start of this conversation, you spoke about your mind. So meditation is really, really big for me. Reading is really massive for me. These are things that I have to have. I mean, if I just turn my computer around, there's just books everywhere here. Um, but also something that I've really gotten into, and I am now an instructor in is breath work. I just think that is I've just found breathwork is so powerful, and anyone can do it if they have. We all breathe every day. Breathing is just part of
Yeah.
life, but when you have intentional breathing with intentional music, intentional purpose, so much is empowered. So I spoke about that extrovert stuff. Yeah, it's cool, but the stuff that really grows me is the introvert stuff, which is the reading, the meditation, the breathwork
Absolutely.
stuff, and when it's just you by yourself. It's
Yeah.
when you're reading, it's you by yourself. When you meditate, it's you by
True.
yourself. When you're breathing, it's just you by yourself. So, yeah, thank you for asking that question, because that's a really fantastic question, and we don't ever stop and think about that. So, yeah, beautiful,
Absolutely.
beautiful. And what about yourself? What's your thing?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to say I do agree with you. It's so important to spend that time with yourself because, you're the one you have to live with for your whole life. So you may as
Yeah,
well just enjoy your own company and enjoy your own time and enjoy yourself, I guess. And for me, when I'm having my alone time, I guess, besides getting fueled up from cool people, I really love to channel into my creative space. And
yeah,
yes, I love science. I love the whole academic side of it. But I also love to channel into my art, take some time to de-stress and use that as a moment to just enjoy my time. It's so meditative, and I think it's just a cool practice, as well as exercise, just moving your body, staying active,
doing
going to the
pull-ups.
gym.
Yeah, pull-ups.
Yeah, pull-ups was a goal,
Yeah,
and I clocked it, which was so cool. My
yeah.
calisthenics journey going pretty good, and just getting back into it after India, after my
Yeah.
last. So
Yeah,
yeah,
beautiful, awesome. I'm just going to touch back on what you said. Just to, I mentioned the word meditation, and you said meditative, and I love that, because meditation doesn't just mean sitting and doing that
yeah,
there, but meditation can be, as you said, it could be while you're in the flow state of doing something you enjoy, while you're being creative, while you're
yeah,
going for a walk, while you're listening to music, whatever, And I just think about so fixated on this particular aspect of meditation of just sitting in a particular pose. And there's time and place for that there, but you can get your meditativeness doing stuff that you just enjoy in flow state.
yeah. No, you can definitely infuse it into so many aspects of your life, and that's a cool thing
Yeah,
about it, really.
it sure is. It sure is, which is beautiful, right? This, and I think as we've gone through this conversation today, one of the key things is that there's no one right way to do anything. And sometimes we get so fixated in this one right way to do something that we end up doing nothing. As we spoke about faith, we spoke about health, we speak about all these things we've spoken about. And, there's so many ways to get to that end outcome that, it's about the journey. It's about the crazy journey that we'll have,
That's so true.
Yeah, beautiful. Tane, any last words?
No, it's been another awesome podcast. It's always cool talking to people, and whether I know them or not, it's always cool because you always learn something new. And again, today I've learned something new about Ghananta, which, it's always been cool to, as I said earlier, it's been cool to get to know over the subordinate years and stuff like that. But it's still cool to also see a journey past that, and I'm sure we're going to stay in touch, for years to come. So it's been a good podcast for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for jumping on. As I said in the past, we look for amazing people, and you are one amazing person that I'm pretty privileged to have known in my life. So thank you for jumping on. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing what's happened with you and for you and to you and all those adverbs and verbs. But as always, it's beautiful, and I love your classroom at the back. Your hominin evolution is great.
Yes, in my element right now. Thank you.
Exactly.
No, but thanks guys for having me on board. It's just been good chatting, I guess, and catching up. It's good to take time to just stop and talk to the people that you admire and appreciate. And yeah, you guys are definitely those people for me. So yeah, thanks again.
And so are you. Beautiful. So listeners out there, hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. If you haven't, there's something wrong with you. No, I'm just kidding. And if you, I'm just kidding. And hopefully you've learned something from today's episode. But if you haven't, please go back and listen, because there's a lot of amazing golden nuggets in today's episode. So till next time, don't forget to keep smiling, be happy, and as Ghananta said today, find that love, show that love, find your marigolds, be a marigold, and don't forget to put something into your basket of knowledge. Till then, ka kite. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for listening to Baskets of Knowledge.
Yeah, we hope that you found something useful to put into your basket of knowledge. And as we said before, remember to put something little into your baskets of knowledge every week. And as always, feel free to like, comment, and share this podcast. Thanks, everybody. Bye.